this assignment is going to be coming due, and I wanted to walk through some of the very specific components with you for this particular exercise. So just kind of off the top, what you're being asked to do is to complete a mini exercise. So there's a series, there's both a quantitative and a qualitative exercise, and for this assignment we're going to focus only on the quantitative aspect because that's where we've been focusing our time over the course of the last few weeks in our class. We're going to be specifically focused on survey design. This exercise will be focused on the application of the methodology and execution of the quantitative research method. You're going to need to demonstrate some kind of introductory understanding here, really about instrument preparation. So let's say that you work in a company and you are trying to understand. Let's take our multivariate example of job satisfaction, and you want to know what are the things that drive job satisfaction. Well, you would have to prepare some kind of instrumentation to collect some of that information. Now, for this project, though, they're actually not going to collect any data. Only the instrumentation will be developed. So there's no need to go out and give this survey or send this to people. You really are just practicing the development of the instrumentation. Now, I'll tell you that instrumentation can be a lengthy process to develop. So we're taking only a small snapshot of this and the rigor that's involved in instrument development. But I want us to have kind of an understanding of if we were in an organization and we had to do this, what would it look like for us to do this? There are some very specific components that you're going to want to focus on for this particular assignment. The components that you should include are: what is the research purpose? Tell us in one sentence. This should be connected to your hat. So this isn't some kind of an exercise that you're just kind of making up. Think about the purpose of your hat and tell us what would be the research purpose in one sentence. And think about completing this sentence. The purpose of this project is to, and tell us what it is, right? And then you're going to tell us what is the recommended methodology. So you're going to be developing a survey, but how would you collect that data if you needed to? Would you do some kind of experimental design? Would you do some kind of quasi-experimental design or a cross-sectional correlational research? You're going to need to refer back to the Swanson and Holton text to really kind of get a handle on this. Specifically, how will you collect the data? The third thing you want to talk about is what's your intended sample? Who will participate in your study? Describe them to us. Tell us who they're going to be, and let us know what the sample size is. Do you have any hypothesis is the fourth area. So how do you expect the variables to be related? Go back and look at that multivariate YouTube video to really kind of understand what we mean by relationship, or go back and reread the idea about hypotheses. What we want to know here is how do you expect these variables to be related, and what's the proposed method of analysis here? What will you do with the data that you collect? What are you going to look at, right? The relationship to your study is the next thing you're going to want to talk about, which is how will this specific methodology answer your research question? Remember that methodology is not driven, or methodology doesn't drive question development. Question development drives methodology. So it is, we pick a method based on our question, but here I want you to talk about how do you think this specific methodology could help you answer your research question. And then the last thing here, or the second to last thing, excuse me, is the data collection instrument and description. What will you use to collect the data? What are the questions? How are they formulated? What are can you make a list of the entire scale so that we can see it and share it with us? And then lastly, who is your audience, right? Who will read your study and find it useful? So if we were to just recap this, there's a couple of questions that you want to answer. We start up here at the top. What are you examining specifically? How will you collect your data? Who will participate in your study? How do you expect the variables to be related? What will you do with the data that you collect? How will this specific methodology help you answer your research question? And then what will you use to collect the data? How are the questions formulated? And what are the questions you're proposing to use? And then finally, who will read your study and find it useful? The nuts and bolts of this are the paper should be approximately 2 to 3 pages long, excluding the instrumentation, cover page, and references. So you should have 2 to 3 pages of actual meat in answering the questions that we posed here. You can organize it any way you wish, but you want to be sure to collect all the information on the above components, and you should be good to go. You want to make sure that you double check for spelling and grammar before submitting your assignment. We would encourage you to utilize the Writing Center. We are actually out about 3 weeks before the assignments due, so we would encourage you to utilize the Writing Center to really kind of hone in on your writing skills. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the quantitative mini assignment for the 617 class.